The Mind Buzz, now partnered with My Grito Industries.
3, 2, 1. Crystal? What am I? Katie made me. She made me nervous.
She has that effect on me.
Yeah. Katie and Chris, how are you? The Falling Doves. Thanks for coming out and doing this.
We're good, man.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming out, dude.
Fun.
Thank you.
How are you?
First botched intro to the podcast.
I think we had a good start.
It's in a while. It hasn't happened in a while. So thanks, guys. I appreciate
have
it.
that effect on people.
Thanks for coming out. You guys just drove down or up from San Diego.
Yeah, no. So the gig is we decided to sleep in as late as we could, just because we knew it was going to be a little bit of a drive and an adventure. So
Okay. How was that?
yeah, we slept till what, 4 o'clock?
3.
3.
You did better than that.
How was the shows out there?
Yeah, good. We played with a Latin buddy of mine. He plays like all Latin music. So I took her to the Mexican ghetto last night.
Ooh,
And I go, come on, we're going to jam with my Latin buddies. And
nice.
that was
It
fun.
was fun.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe, though, because even I'm Mexican, I feel out of place because they're all like a little rough, you know? Not rough, pero pura cumbia and all that.
Oh, dude, they're like right there by the border. Of course,
so it's
they're
very overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know?
It was fun. Everyone was dancing. It was cool.
And that's the thing, because they're expecting La Negra Tomasa. I know that. You know?
Whoa, what is that?
It's a song, classic rock song in Mexico that was covered by a band called Maná, who popularized it, made a single off of it. And lyrically, it's not good for me to say it in English because I could get canceled.
Oh.
But it's
one of those songs,
Yeah.
Katie.
But I was explaining to her all these lyrics. No te metas con mi cucu, another song. She got to learn what that was about.
Because I was all dancing. I was getting into it. And he's like, do you know what these songs mean? I was like, no, I don't fucking know what these songs mean.
Cuckoo is like a, for Gill, because Gill doesn't know either. It's kind of like a, what would you call it? Like a doble sentido, right? Like
Yeah,
like
it's
a double meaning.
double meaning. Double time. It's like
For-
for a sexual part in the woman's body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gets the room dancing.
I just feel like maybe like in Latin America, it's still the final frontier, I think, for musicians where they can truly express their work without getting canceled.
How and when did this song come out?
No te metas con mi cucu?
Yeah.
That was around since the 90s, huh?
Oh, yeah? Can we pull it up?
Yeah.
Who is it by?
I think it's La Sonora Dinamita, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Might even have a...
Con mi cucu. So is that the original?
No, that's my buddy Pablo playing.
Oh,
the
that's
song.
him.
That was a video from last night.
Oh, okay.
But that's the gig.
But this song plays in every, like, Latino party.
So this is, if this song is not playing at a party, it's not a party, pretty much.
Not a Latin party. I think those are like the staples. And then there's El General. So Katie was learning about El General yesterday.
Wow.
And El General also has a lot of very dirty songs. They're all dirty, man.
They're all
They're all dirty.
My mom used to say son canciones para los albañiles. And los albañiles are the workers that work on the field. So it's the field workers' music.
Oh.
Again, but in rock and roll, it's the same ballgame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original. I mean, go listen to Tutti Frutti and all that stuff.
Well, yeah. That's...
It was all about sex, dude.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What was the one that I was playing the other day? It was like from like the 50s. It was more doo-woppy, but he was talking about like he's obsessing over her feet not having like stockings.
What?
And I was like dancing in the car, and then I was like, wait.
It's on my playlist, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I was like, why is he obsessed with her not
What
wearing
song
stockings?
is this? Now you got me thinking about it. What is this?
I can't remember what it's called. I'll look for it. And
I'm
I'll
not a
Okay,
foot
look for
guy,
it.
But I know there's people that are into foot fetishes.
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino is a Bigfoot guy.
Really?
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like all of his movies have like at least one foot scene.
Ah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not shocked.
He's a Hollywood
He's a
boy, though.
strange guy.
Everybody in Hollywood's got a weird fetish
He's
for
an
something.
interesting fella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to put it in your like all your movies, That's
I mean, Dan Schneider did it, but that's a darker subject.
Oh yeah,
oh, sure.
the Nickelodeon guy.
Yeah.
That's true.
There was foot scenes all over the place, but they were kids, so that was weird.
Yeah,
At
No.
least Tarantino isn't like that.
true. Yeah, Dan Schneider had a what happened?
No, nothing.
I like how this is just.
What do you got?
We didn't even soften the interview and anything. We went straight
No, we
to
went
the.
straight for foot fetishes.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey.
So San Diego was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Mexico City. I moved to San Diego as a young kid and developed as an artist there in the beautiful town of Ocean Beach, California, with a lot of phenomenal artists in the era. It was the era of Gill at the time, Jason Mraz, those type of fellas. So we were playing in the same places. So I started with the acoustic and going and playing the same places with them. Little by little, everybody started making it out. And I didn't see the thing with the acoustic. Still up to this day, she knows I dread acoustic stuff. I dread it. But I do it, and people love it.
I love it.
But I don't like it, but it does give me money, and it's fun. After a while, after the third show on a tour doing acoustic stuff, usually I
It's
embrace
chill.
it.
It's relaxed.
And then I have fun with people and go back to the storytelling days, and it's pretty interesting. And then I just wanted to play rock and roll and start hanging around more to the rock bands and just creating that craft. And it was hard in San Diego, I think, at the time, because being a Latin rock and roll musician.
So you went from Mexico City to San Diego?
Yeah, and it was hard, man, because I think that, if you were like Latino, you couldn't really do. They only liked the white kids playing the punk rock, and I think the only place you could see there was a big punk scene, I remember, in L.A. with the bands like the Zeros and all these other bands, and that's where like the Latino stuff up, but it wasn't a regular Latino. It was like a Chicano Latino, and that's different than a Mexican Latino. So I also couldn't fit in there, and
Why not?
it's just they're not accepting. They can. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
It was like you were too Mexican. Right?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
more like Mexican American, and you were coming straight from, like the Mexican.
I was coming
like
straight from the
mountains.
tortilla,
Straight from the source.
straight from where they make that tortilla. And mind you, I come from a very blessed family, working class in Mexico, but working upper class, and so it's different. There's a social caste system in Latin America that's a little bit different here. Meeting the Mexicans in Mexico City versus the Mexicans in America. Most of the Mexicans in America usually came from some type of field working situation or service industry, versus the Mexican families I come from are either attorneys, lawyers, doctors, fucking generals. So it's, you know what I mean? It's a different train of thought, Mexico City's full of a lot of intellectuals, a lot of writers, photographers, phenomenal artists. And so carrying that artistic integrity and love for my heritage, because I am very proud of being a Mexican, coming to America and getting those things kind of degraded and then all the way down. I was like, no, went up to Hollywood, just kept dusting, hitting the rock, and sat in front of label people. They said, you're not going to do this. You can't ever do that. Eventually, I just got tired of it, took off to England and started playing out there, just like Darnell. We met actually in England.
Oh, you did?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, we met touring and stuff and gigging, and we've had the same exact philosophy in a lot of things. And, he's battling his demons just like I am here with certain cultural things that just happens to America, But it's lovely to go out there because she's been able to see what it's like for us out there. And it's like, over there, no matter what color or where you're from. Actually, it's better if you're from a different thing because it makes you more exciting, Yeah.
Why do you think that? I know Darnell talked about it too, but why do you think that, like, other than that, like, culturally, but why do you think, like, in England it's just music is more accepted than here, or like these different cultures?
I don't think he said it was accepted. It was more like nourished, or it was more like...
It was more celebrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Him and I have been through the route. So, and I'll give you a little bit of his, of his background on what I've been able to observe on my end. When I went to Liverpool, We have a thing in Spanish, we call it apodo. Apodo in English would be nicknames.
Oh, okay.
So they'd see me in the street and they go, oh, that's the American rock and roll singer. Oh, that's the American rock and roll singer. I've never been called an American rock and roll singer in America. That alone, a rock and roll singer. I'd be called the Mexican singer or the Mexican artist or the, Neo Richie Valens, which I have nothing against all of that. I'm very proud of the heritage, but it's not my gig. And so I'm just a writer, a music writer, an artist.
There's less like labels. Like we were talking about this the other day. Like when people see me playing bass, they're like, "Oh, she's a female bass player."
But in
like,
England,
if
she's
it's
just a bass player.
Yeah, and if it's a guy playing, it's like, "Oh, they're just a bass player." So like the standard, the labels are different when you travel to other places.
I wonder why.
I think it's just the upbringing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just a different
The way they're
layout.
conditioned.
America's a little corrupt in the way that it's been conditioned.
I remember when Darnell first started, his band was really, really rough. It was like a punk band, but really hard punk. It was called Porcelain Hill at the time. And I remember we played the first.
That's how I met Darnell.
with Porcelain Hill days.
Going to Porcelain Hill gigs.
But I'm gonna tell you that I remember the show I was playing with, and this promoter was, and we had played a show together before. Together on the same stage in Texas, but we didn't know each other. So they played on the same slot, same day, prior to us arriving. So we never crossed paths, but we were in the same venue the same day. They played like at 3, we played at 6, But I remember seeing them. And I remember asking the promoter, a guy was like Gary or something. And I go, oh, who's that one band? He's like, oh, it's the black dude with the lesbian on the drums. That's what they were describing. I was like, what kind of a...
Yeah, it's like
who describes a band like that?
labeling people
Wow.
for no reason.
But in England,
has nothing to do
Porcelain
with
Hill, they were like, oh yeah, they're a really hard punk blues band. Wow, what a difference in defining a human being.
Yeah.
And that's the definition here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And you guys are going to back to the UK in
Yeah.
the summer, right?
We leave in
Cavern
July.
Club. I seen that. I was like,
That's
whoa,
what
that is
let 'em
awesome.
Promote them
Yeah.
as much as we can.
Oh, you're wearing the shirt. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Have you guys played there before?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
have you played there before?
I started, so when I went into the Cavern, originally we were playing a bunch of restaurants and coffee shops in England in 2013. Literally, that's how we started, sleeping in hostels and playing coffee shops or whatever
Whoa.
they would let us in.
Yeah.
And we carved our way all the way up to, at some point, I remember we tried the Cavern, but, it was beyond. And I remember telling people about the Cavern in Liverpool. They're like, oh, you'll never get in there. That's not for you guys and this and this and that. Okay. Time
Watch me.
changed. And somehow we ended up in there filling in acoustic-y for some bands that got canceled that day. They couldn't fly in from Germany. And that friendship meteorized into us filling in time to time and eventually playing the Beatles circuit around the world. Yeah, we played every Beatle festival just about, playing Beatles songs and stuff. We never signed up for that. But then we came back here, and that had a different etiqueta, a different integrity, a different badge of honor for us to be a Cavern band. And
I wasn't around yet.
not
when this
yet.
was happening.
And then opened up a bunch of doors for us around the world as well on another level. And the director goes, you don't want to be stuck here playing Beatle cover songs. Your songs are good enough. I don't want you stuck doing Beatles stuff because you guys are not a Beatle tribute band, and I don't want you guys doing that. That's a very short life. It'll be fine, but it'll be the same thing, and you're going to go nuts. And we stayed off of there for a bit and focused on having our own shows at the Cavern. And we used that opportunity to open the doors for all other bands in Liverpool that needed to get in there, that are from there, that couldn't, to open up the shows for us. So it's been a wonderful vehicle, and we've used that as well to bring well-known bands from there to the United States. We got to meet Pete Best, the original drummer of the Beatles.
Oh,
Did some
wow.
recording and touring with him.
Really?
That's our drummer, yeah, with the Fallen Doves. I think we're probably one of the only original bands that he's backed up. And
Whoa. That is pretty interesting.
yeah, it's all online.
Yeah. How did
All
you?
on YouTube.
Yeah, nobody could. Who can say that? Like
Not a
that
lot
they've
of
met
people.
Pete Best.
Yeah, I went to
I can't.
my house, and we're going through this box yesterday, throwing stuff out of my dad's house, and I have this whole box of Beatles stuff from when I was little.
Mhm.
And I go, well, let's just sell all this stuff at the next Beatle festival. Just sell it on the merch table. I already lived all the stuff, so why would I need? need a souvenir of another band, you know?
Yeah. Damn,
It's,
dude.
It's
That
been a
is
fun journey, man.
wild.
Oh, yeah.
And your drummer now, didn't he played for another band
Greg's
too?
done a bunch of stuff for a bunch
Yeah?
of people throughout the years. He sat in a bunch of cover bands. There's like there's a funny list between folklore and reality, and we like to just push the envelope on that, you know. I remember one time we were at this event and we were talking to the promoter. We're like, "Oh yeah, no, you know the song Louie Louie? Dun 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 dun. That's Greg on the drums." He's like, "No way." I go, "Yeah, look it up."
Greg is just a
find-
character in like so many stories. Like there's just myths of Greg
He's
spreading
getting
around
me.
the whole planet.
We've even mimicked his voice. I remember I did an interview pretending to be him. And I do it. They go, "Anyway, so I was playing the drums for Brian Wilson. And kicked me out of the band. I don't know what the hell is his
He'll like
problem."
Photoshop his face. Into
That is
things.
awesome.
Like he's just an enigma. He's everywhere all the
He's
time.
a very interesting fella. He's on my father's fridge though. I had this promotional giant poster. So now his head is in my father's fridge every morning.
That's a good gift.
Yeah.
He's a character. Meanwhile, he's just like a holy man who's like going to church every Sunday with him and his wife.
Well, he's not that holy too, you know, because one time, you know, we were in this hotel. That's when you go tour with people, you get the real inside story of their mind. Because you're in these fucking 10-hour car rides, like 13-hour plane rides.
You're
And
with
then
them when
all
they're
of a sudden-
delirious
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tired.
You'd be like, "You know that Kennedy shot first." I go, "What?"
Yeah, JFK, he really did.
But he waits till you're freaking tired to tell you these stories. Once you're like passing out, like I think, yeah. You know the lizards.
Yeah,
they,
I was
they
about
run.
to say that. He starts talking about the lizards and he gets
They run everything. And I mean, there's a fine line where you know some of the
Like-
stuff he says makes sense.
a lot of the stuff
Yeah?
he says, I agree with. However, he goes the extra fucking mile and he'll just talk he'll tackle like 15 subjects in a matter of 10 minutes. And you're like, well, holy shit, dude, like you lost me. I can't.
He overstimulates you first and just to confuse you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes out of nowhere, like
Yeah.
literally. You
Goes
know,
from
like
talking about the lizards to talking
No,
about
like,
how
I mean,
JFK shot first.
not like you're sitting in there
That
and
is
playing.
awesome.
You're like, you know, like that moment where you're almost because plane rides are hard, man.
Yeah.
when they're really long. So it takes you a while to get comfy. And then eventually you're finally, I got the pillow ride, feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
The lady comes in, "Oh, you want coffee, sugar, whatever?" "Yeah, cool, thank you. I'll take a Jack in the Rocks, you know, whatever." And right as you're about to enjoy it, Greg's right there. "Hey,
It's like, you know what this governor is trying to do right now?
you know that they're trying to gas us on the plane with COVID."
Guess why people are having so many heart attacks, man?
Yeah. That's
It's in
cool.
the food.
Yeah.
So then now your 13-hour plane ride is just you thinking of all
You're
these
just
problems.
panicking.
You feel
You're
like
just
you're-
anxious. You're like, get
feel
me
like
off of
you're in
this
a
plane.
deep rabbit hole of conspiracy theories on
And then
YouTube.
eventually his voice lives in your head.
For 13 hours.
Yeah, have you seen that
Yeah.
scene in Spider-Man's like the bad guy? It was the lizard. Wasn't it the lizard?
Venom?
Yeah, it was the lizard. No, it was the lizard. And he's looking in the mirror. And then the guy starts, no, it wasn't the lizard. It was,
I know who you're talking about. I don't
come
know.
on,
his
help
name,
me
though.
with,
Venom?
no, help me.
No,
Help
it
me
was-
with other Spider-Man bad guys.
Which Spider-Man? Tom Holland Spider-Man?
William
Or...
Dafoe.
No, it was one of the villains in Spider-Man. He's like
Oh, the Green Goblin.
Yes,
Green
and remember how
Goblin.
he's
Yeah.
talking to himself in the mirror?
Oh, yeah.
That's Greg.
He's just sitting there by himself. And then he's just sitting there, right? And you can do the Greg voice, and I'll pretend I'm Greg. And I'm just sitting there. Or you be Greg. You'll be Greg. You stand there and you're just looking in the mirror. You know they're talking about you, right? They're all trying to kill you, Greg.
No,
they're all
not.
trying to kill you,
No.
Greg. They know. They know your secrets. They are
Greg.
paid FBI informants.
Put the phone away. Turn it off. It's gonna track you.
Basically, that's how it is.
That's how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And we say this with love because we do the Greg impressions in front of Greg.
If you're in this band, you do Greg. Even Darnell does a great Greg.
Everyone will be talking like Greg while Greg's sitting right there, and he'll just be on his phone.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. I have to ask Darnell about that. I want to hear Darnell's
Do
Greg.
his voice.
Yeah.
Darnell's Greg impression.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So how was Japan?
I'll let her
It
enjoy
was
that.
Yeah.
amazing. 'Cause it was my first time. In
Was your
Japan.
first time?
He's been there like 5 times.
Oh, okay.
This was my first time, and it was absolutely amazing. We didn't have a whole lot of time to like sightsee, but we honestly did a lot for the time that we were there. Like we went down Harajuku, all like the little shopping district. We went up. We missed the monkeys. They have monkeys that you can hang out with.
What?
We missed that, but we went to the park where they were and went through like the bamboo forest and like all this crazy stuff. It's just so cool to see like different parts of the world. I don't know, like everyone functions so differently when you go somewhere else that's not the US.
Do you feel that when you went to Japan and then you came back, did you feel like a different person?
I wouldn't say a different person. I would just say that a lot of things get validated when you go somewhere else. Like in Japan, especially, everyone I feel like is so like self-aware and like courteous of others. Not to the point where it's like overwhelming, but like if you're trying to like step on the train or something, like they'll move out of your way a little bit. Or like if you're crossing paths, like they're just like aware that you're there and you can move.
Quiet everywhere.
Everyone coexists a lot
it's
easier.
clean.
They respect each other. Respect.
Yeah. Like Tokyo is literally just like the way I've explained it to people is it's like the way that New York should be. Like if the people were nicer, if the streets were cleaner.
That makes sense.
That's what Tokyo is.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, I've been stuck in the middle of nowhere there before, and
How was that?
the most remote areas that you get,
Yeah, how was that?
people don't speak any English,
Well, yeah.
You would think.
but they will go out of their way to figure out what it is that you need to get you home
Yeah.
or to move you where you need to go, and then they'll talk. I don't know what they're saying, but they just
That's actually crazy that you say that because I've heard at least 2 stories from people saying that they were in Japan and they walked into like this little house that they thought was like a cafe or something, and the person would like start serving them, and then they later realized that they were in somebody's house.
I think
Like
that
That's
at
like
least
in
2
Mexico,
different
though.
people. But like they didn't say anything. They were like, "Oh, do you need coffee, toast?" Like
Wow.
they started serving them like on
the
the
people are
couch.
pretty lovely down there.
Amber, maybe that's why the lady didn't have a cash register. We were asking her if she took Venmo and Zelle, but she didn't.
No, seriously, it was
Now
like that
it's
type
coming
of
full
situation.
circle thinking of that
Yeah.
lady's house. So we went in November and we walked into this place and we're like, oh yeah. And then she sat us down and it looked like she hadn't served anyone in like 30 years.
Yeah,
And then
honestly.
she had
50.
she had like a board and she wrote on it thinking that we were gonna be able to read it, and we're like, oh no, we don't know. And then she didn't know, and then she mustered up the word sandwichy, and I was like, all right, I think that's sandwich, and we like said yes,
Oh
and
my
then she's
God.
like, okay.
I
And then
showed
she
her, I
went-
Googled a picture of a sandwich and I showed it to her.
I don't
Like-
want to be the one to break it to you guys, but I think you were in a
I
woman's house.
think so. Now it's coming full circle.
You guys are
Whoa.
not the first people. Like that happens to so many people, and they don't tell them to leave. Like
No.
they're just like
They're like, sit.
they're just
sit.
confused
Yeah.
or welcoming. Like they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, do you want tea? Like
Yeah, because there is certain places that are just for Japanese people that they
That
like
too,
it
yeah.
authentic. We're blessed to go to a lot of those places because I have a lot of Japanese friends now than I've accumulated over the years and over the tours I've been there. And so even with them, they don't all speak Japanese, but we're able to feel like, you know what I mean, we're a buddy.
yeah.
Did
You
you
can
guys
Say enough or use Google Translate.
Did you guys play out there?
Yeah, we did about 13 or 14
yeah.
shows.
Wow, and how was
Whoa.
Yeah, this would be
It
my
was
5th
fun.
tour. of
They're
Japan.
very like they have the sound and shit set up out there. Like
Yeah.
that if you get there and there's everything you can need, there's like a meeting beforehand, there's like sound check for everybody, and there's like a meeting afterwards. Like they're very efficient out there with like how they set up gigs.
As an entertainer for us, it's like you hit plateaus in different parts of your life where you hit, a ceiling, we call it, it's like, okay, now we've done all of this. What do we do now? In order to keep a band happy, you got to keep growing. You got to keep elaborating. At this point, the reason we ended up there, we had already done a bunch of stuff in Vegas, and we had our own residency out there, billboards and everything.
Oh, wow.
So, because we had done all that Beatles stuff, so we had a Beatles show in Vegas that we did, and at that point, we're like, well, what do we do? I mean, yeah, we're making good money. I go, but I don't feel good about this. Yeah, we go. They pay us good. They feed us good. Free strip bars and places to stay at. I go, but like, that's not what this is for. Like, I don't, these people don't get what I'm doing. They don't get what I'm singing. And I don't know. And I said, well, let's try to go to Japan, see what we can do out there and figure it out. And it moved real fast. And I think when we got to Japan, obviously we had a residency. We played the Cavern. We're like, oh, we're tough fuckers. We can do anything. We played in Hamburg in Germany, where it's one of the hardest places to play at. We survived Hamburg.
Why is it hard to play in Hamburg?
Because it's a lot of crime, a lot of.
Oh, okay.
It's like going to the most redneck area here in America.
Really?
Yeah, and making everybody really violent, and then giving them alcohol. So you don't know
Party.
how it's going to turn out that night.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's like one of
And
those.
there's a wall of language, and they scream at you, and they, and you're okay. This is not
Whoa.
what. Yeah. And so, but if you can tame those animals, I don't know if I'm not calling these people animals, but I mean, like, if you can tame that crowd, you can do anything, right? And that's where, that's where I learned, Katie, to go and play to people, to get
Yeah.
out and entertain,
You told me that
because
in
you have to get them
Germany.
to listen to you. So if they were talking, I walk up to them with my guitar and go right in their face to make sure they're paying attention to the band. You know what I mean?
And they eat that shit up.
Oh, then,
Yeah, they
then
loved it.
back and
Uh-huh.
forth and back and forth. And so when you do that in other places, they go, well, I'm not used to this, But it's part of entertainment. So when we had all those skills. So imagine that. Now we go to Japan and we thought we had it going on. And we realized, wow, we got to step it up. This is a different level. Oh my God. The professionalism
They're
between the
rehearsing, like,
musicians.
every day.
But it's not just a rehearsal. Every artist shows up with a production, shows up with a show, shows up with an intro, shows up with video show behind him, shows up with
Costumes,
lighting,
like
specialized
props.
lighting in each stuff. So I remember I sit down there on the first big show that we had, and they bring a translator for me. And the guy goes, he gives me about 5 sheets. I go, okay, this is strange because it's all in Japanese. And the younger kid that spoke English because he had been to the States, he's all excited, So he goes, okay, well, this list, you write all your songs down here, your set list.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's this one? He goes, this one, you write the production cues for each song. I go, what do you mean production cues? Like lights, what color for each song?
Oh.
And then what's this? Special effects and videography and guitar changes and stuff. I go, what do you mean? He's like, oh, you get one guy that runs your monitors. We got one stagehand that assists you with changes or whatever you need to do. And then each song is a cue with a certain stop, and you put the time signature ending.
Wow.
So then when we got there, we didn't have any of that stuff. We're like, we looked at each other, it's like,
'Cause
okay.
If you go in there demanding that stuff or expecting that stuff in the States, they're going to laugh in your face. They're like, we don't have that. What do you just get on
Or you
stage
show
and
up
play?
with your own video and lighting guy. But with
Yeah.
the budgets that they give us here, when can you afford to bring a lighting and sound guy,
Right. And,
Not
If anything, you're going to
usually.
bring a sound guy because that's going to
It's most
highlight the
important.
stuff.
yeah.
So playing the shows out there, I think for the Fallen
This
Gods-
is the first time that you've ever seen that before?
I've played big halls like House of Blues,
Right.
obviously, but you're playing like House of Blues, Viper Room, but they have a lighting guy. You don't write your own show when you go to the House of Blues.
Right.
They do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
This was like tailoring to you.
Tailoring
right?
to the band.
To the songs and the music
and the
the mood
songs.
and the tempo and
Wow.
the speed and all of that they need to know.
Wow.
So then when you go out there and you perform,
Yeah.
it's a show.
Wow.
And we used those things that we learned and we took that across Europe. At this point, a few years after, eventually Katie joined in as a backup singer, but she was doing merch and backup singing and production for us. And when we met her in Maui, and she was doing a little percussion for us.
Oh,
And
cool.
eventually-
I just kind of stepped
she's
into
been-
places where
Yeah.
I was needed.
And then she asked, she's like, hey, well, why don't I try the bass? I go, well, try it. I go, because our bass player can't travel right now. And she took on the challenge, and I go, you're really choosing Japan? That's your first tour? I go, that's a different level.
I picked up the bass, I started playing it, and I played it for, a month and a half, 2 months?
Yeah, because
before we went to Japan.
And the songs are not that easy either, And I said to her, I go, look, I'm not going to be as nice to you there because I don't have time for that because I got a lot of work to do with the production of the show. I go, so you're going to be on your own. Are you sure you can handle that? Because it's a different gig there. You got to be ready. And like she said, prior to showtime, there's a production meeting that you do with every band has to be at the production meeting that's playing that night. And everybody, the promoter, the house manager, the lighting manager, sound guy, and then you all pay respects to each other. Everybody applauses for each other, like a theatrical play.
Wow.
Then you do the show, you perform. At the end of the show, again, you meet up, and it's just a band. They kick everybody out, and you all hang out, have a drink, and spend time together.
Like, I don't know if you ever did sports, but, how you, do that
Never.
circle? They do, a circle after.
Or team bonding exercises.
Never.
They do, a circle where you, have a little powwow when it's
Oh,
done.
okay.
And then, say thank you to everybody, do
Right.
a little applause.
And then you get to spend time with each other and get to know each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you drink together. Do
Dang.
cheers.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds so organized.
Everything is. That's the thing. I've always been into Japanese video games, Japanese fashion. I just have delved into a lot of the cultural preferences over there, and I love it. It's so organized and self-aware, and just so everything just moves.
I also
so
think
fluidly
that
over
they
there.
do everything convenience. They
Yeah.
make everything convenient and their life a lot easier.
Yeah. All the little I am absolutely addicted to those little videos online where they do the most of the time they're in Japan, but they do the little products that they have all over their house.
Oh,
that
and
are
they
just
clean,
so,
and then
you've
she,
never seen before.
Yes.
But they're so nifty. You want to buy them right then and there. I always watch it, and it really is like that over there. You go to the little stores and they have all the little things to make your life easier.
Whoa. Yeah, we need to make our lives easier.
Yeah, we came
over
back
here.
from those tours, and I think we had that mentality now.
Yeah. Of making your
I'm going to be honest
Yeah.
with you, because I
I've
think
had that mentality for a long time.
when we
I'm glad
arrived
you
in
got on the wave.
Japan, we literally were just going to call it quits before Japan, because I was done with this stuff. I was tired. But Japan really revitalized. And you know what I found the most interesting thing the first time we went out there? Is that these people do their homework about the band before they show up.
Mhm.
In their own weird, strange way, they were singing our lyrics. Here we
Really?
played for years. They were singing along and singing with us, and that changed everything, because for once you felt like somebody listened. In England, they do too. They're really good about that, and they question you about the lyrics and the stories, and they get involved with the characters and the songs, and they fall in love with the song in a different way than people do here.
That's why the story times do so well over there.
Mhm.
When you do the acoustic, he goes into telling stories of his time in the industry and all that stuff, and it does so well over there because they want to know. They love the history behind little things.
Yeah, I wonder why though. Why the Don't get me wrong, it's fucking amazing that they do, but just the difference between the two cultures. It's when we have thousands of bands here in the state,
Yeah,
but
it's here. Here, I feel like it's something that we take for granted.
yeah, right.
Over there, it's kind of like, the average teenager or the average young adult over there. Okay, so, I got my drinking time with my buddies this week, and then I got my shopping list here of things I got to do. I got school, and then I got these shows I'm going to go watch. You know what I mean? It's part of the lifestyle.
I also think, in America, I don't like to generalize people, but I feel like in this sense, once you've seen enough, you can kind of make general statements. I feel like people in America are kind of conditioned to be a little more selfish or self-centered. And I think when you branch out of America, they're more built to kind of be conscious of everyone, not
Right,
just
in unison
themselves.
as a team,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
They just if he was telling me this before I went to Europe, and I kind of didn't believe him. But he's like, no, seriously, if you just sit at a table in a bar, people will come sit with you and hang out with you or like introduce themselves. Like everyone's just trying to be friends and like have drinking buddies, and it's so weird. Like everywhere we went, we would just go sit at a table, and then people would just gravitate and be like, "Oh, what's your name?" And you'd be hugging like 6 new people that are your new besties by the time you leave the bar.
Yep.
It's wild. It's just a different upbringing, I guess.
So you guys did 13 shows out there. Within how many days did you do that?
Almost daily we were playing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
We had
I
like
think we
one
had-
day off every 4 shows, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
in the total time of us being there for like 2 weeks, we probably had
Whoa,
like,
2 weeks? Wow.
right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we had like 3 days off, maybe.
At the beginning, to sleep in, sometime
Mm-hmm.
in the middle, and right before we went home.
How was the jet lag?
The thing is, tour prep,
Yeah.
you're up until 4 a.m. every night, getting shit ready, packing, like
Yeah.
setting up merch, like figuring out travel plans. Like there's so much tour prep that has to be done. So your sleep schedule is already fucked.
Mm.
So we try to
Okay.
make one
So
day
you're a
prior to
little
tour to
loopy.
sleep
Yeah.
in anyways.
It's
We
not
try
like
to
jet
always
lag.
book something prior to the tour beginning.
Damn.
Make sure we sleep in and get all those bugs out of the way.
Yeah.
And we force ourselves to stay in when we arrive.
That's got to be
Country.
nerve wracking because you're going to another country and you have to bring like all your gear and you have to be detailed.
lot.
We've gotten better at it though. We've
Yeah?
been shipping a lot of stuff internationally weeks before. So when we land down there,
really?
it's already waiting for us.
And you have to
it's
be
just-
prepared with everything. Like we have little like packets or like not packets, like little zip bags with like medicine. We have like a tape if we needed, a bunch of Sharpie, like just little bags of like things.
Because
that
that's the
you
thing,
would need.
medicine, when you're in a...
So you can't find it
You
everywhere.
can't find the medicines always, and some countries just have lower doses of stuff. So here, having Mexico and America at the same area, we're able to get all the medicine you need. So if you can't afford to get sick, so you literally
No, because you don't have days off. So if you get sick, like you still got to travel from one hotel to the next. You still got to travel from one city to the next.
we had
There's
this
no.
drummer that was playing for Darnell and I on the last tour. They got us all sick, and when it was my turn,
Always does.
yeah, when it not Greg, this was
Oh.
Jimmy.
Greg never sleeps.
Yeah,
So
that's
he's
the
always
most
the
important
first
thing
to
is you
get
got to
sick.
sleep. So Jimmy was
Yeah.
playing drums with us, and he was traveling with Darnell, and he got Darnell sick. And then Darnell and I, we was traveling us in a car with us, Darnell, for a bit. So he got me sick, and I finished the show, and I told Katie, you know what, I don't feel good, and we have one day off. I need to go and sleep, just a whole day, and take a bunch of medicines and just sleep. And we drove out to get the rest of the medicine that we could, and that's it. I slept. Took all this medicine. The next day I felt a little bit better enough to get to the show.
And we were so lucky that we had that day off because there's like, if you're at the beginning of a couple days worth of shows and you get sick, you're shit out of luck. So we were so lucky to be able to actually like get a hotel, rearrange our driving for the day before the show or the day of the show, and just rest because it's really a luxury.
And I like to give people with, there are a lot of these people also drive hours to come to these shows. Hours, man. I remember this kid followed us from Scotland, came all the way down to England, and vice versa. Somebody from England went all the way out to Scotland in a train, got a hotel just to see us play. I mean, they don't do
Wow.
that here. Fucking an hour and a half, people are having a connection,
Yeah.
But that shows you the power of how much your work is appreciated in a different place. Same thing in Australia.
Yeah.
I've had fans from Australia fly to Japan to see the band. Can you
Whoa.
believe
Oh,
that?
really?
Yeah, I told you about that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
There was this one kid that's the son of Angus Young. You know what I mean? And what's the name of the one that died? Malcolm, right?
I have no
Malcolm
clue.
Young from
Yeah.
AC/DC.
Okay. Oh, ACDC.
And
Okay.
his nephew flew out. He already seen us in Australia, flew out to see us play in London, has flown out to see us in Japan.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So there's
Nuts.
people really, when they love the band, they love the band.
Yeah,
you know?
they'll make the effort.
Like, how much money is that? And I told the guy,
It's gotta be
we're
a
gonna
lot.
be in your country in a bit.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but you never know, And I'm glad he came because after that, the pandemic started.
Oh.
So he would have missed. He still tells me, he's like, I'm so glad I made those shows.
How taxing is being on tour? Like, how do you guys keep up? How do you keep your body healthy and all of that? Because I can't imagine. I get tired off of working, doing something 3 days consecutively, and I'm like, oh, I need like a whole week off. I don't know how you guys do it.
Too, and that's the hard, because I'm really like I'm a homebody. I don't do well just going and going and going and going and going and going. He thrives on that shit. Like,
Oh, I've been doing it for years. That's the thing.
he has so much stamina with working 24 hours of the day and just be in go mode. Which for me, I'm like, I don't want to be in survival mode. Holy shit! So it takes it. It really is taxing.
And just to get to that point, in LA when I was younger, you work in different fields and stuff. And I remember my day-to-days were like, I always have to be ready for whatever. So if you call me tomorrow and you go, Christopher, let's go make a record. I don't go, record? I don't have the songs for a new record.
Yeah.
But 10 a.m. tomorrow, okay, I'll be there with the songs. And I can put 10 songs together and be in the studio ready to track.
Has that happened before?
Yeah. A lot of times. Because you get these amazing opportunities to work with some players.
Okay.
I remember I was in this place in London once with this cat. He's like, man, he's like, I like your tunes. I got the studio. It's like all these bands have recorded Oasis, this and that. And I go, okay, cool. He's like, can you come in tomorrow? I'm sure you got something in there. No, but I'll show up with something. And I've written stuff in the car on the way to the studio before because I didn't have time to, or had other deadlines. So you get used to it. It becomes a lot easier process, and you learn to put your soul. Because a lot of people go, oh well, maybe the stuff's not that good because you're just starting. I go, no. The thing is, you get so good at tapping into your feelings.
You gotta tap into source on command and just let it flow out.
And she's seen that. Whenever I need to go to sleep, and I need to sleep, I tell her I need to sleep, and I just shut the computer off and I'm out.
Really?
But it's the same way with
He
composing
runs
and
like
artistic.
a machine. I cannot do it.
He has buttons on him.
Yeah.
But we all get sick and we all get tired, and that's we're all no one's superhuman.
Yeah. Are you like that 24/7?
Darnell is like that.
Is he?
Darnell is like
No,
that.
seriously, the guy that you see on stage is the guy that you meet in person.
Yeah,
Like,
he's-
it's like identical. Like,
Hi,
that's just
my
who he
name's
is.
Darnell Cole. And I'm gonna rock your mom. It's like, calmado,
All scared.
calmado.
Are you the same Christopher on stage then?
Katie can say that. She's
Yeah.
spent a lot of time with me.
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, like you're very much like a businessman. Like you're always working at all times. So there's like a work voice versus like a personal voice.
Right.
I think he works so much that he'll be talking to me, and I'm like, and I realize he's like talking to me like I'm some executive, like we're having a business meeting.
It's just that's the thing is once you've been in this business for enough time and a lengthy amount of time, the bullshit time is very small that you have because that's if I'm giving you that time, this time that you're taking from other shit that's, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Other things I got to do, and
Yeah.
I always have things to do. So
That makes a lot of sense.
I get pretty cranky.
Are you cranky right now?
No. You get these people that you work with. It was this
We gave him a
lady.
gummy before this. He's chilling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's.
Took a bite on it.
You did?
It hasn't kicked in
We
yet. I don't
split it.
think.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
It's not as strong as I thought it was gonna be. Not gonna lie.
No,
Maybe not yet.
it'll get you.
You never know. Edibles are tricky.
We're gonna wake up in Joshua Tree.
We're gonna be like, where did they go?
Don't drink the water here at this studio.
Or in water bottles.
Yeah.
Weird water bottles.
That actually happened to Amber one time. She reached for one of my water bottles, but I put like this very heavy like drops of THC.
I thought you were gonna say Molly. I was like,
Oh,
no,
no.
because that's happened to people I know.
Really?
They drink water and there's Molly in it.
No.
No,
Sorry,
I
continue.
grabbed the water bottle and I was like, oh, it's water. Not knowing what it was.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait.
You had a
You're
sip
high.
and
I had like I had a little sip.
she had like
before.
a sip, but she was able to smell like the CBD or THC in there.
I was like, oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Rough.
So the Falling Doves, has it, or for our listeners that, are going to be introduced to your guys' band, like, can you guys kind of describe what type of music are you, or what do you like to?
I'm gonna give you the Wikipedia version.
Yeah.
The Falling Doves are professional touring. The Falling Doves are a professional collection of session and touring musicians from around the
Give him a
world.
press release.
That's
right
basically
now.
what that is. And then basically a mixture. I like this. I've been playing with this AI. Like I've been kind of dating this AI app.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because you know what I mean? It's like she knows me
just
better
gets
than I
him.
know myself. It's like she finishes my sentences for me, and it's just so good. Check this out. I was working on a couple ones, which this one's
It
so
sounds
good.
exactly like the shit that gets written for the band.
Check this out,
Exactly.
okay? I had to write this press release because promoters will call me, and sometimes there's like specific shows for specific things. And this one goes: the Falling Doves bridge the gap between British rock and Sunset Strip swagger. This one was kind of nuts, which I'm still changing, you know. So that's kind of one of the things that they do, and so that's their quote. And I don't know what they're tied in. You know, we're doing a bunch of shows, Beatles shows this year, and this month actually. And this one had wrote this one. I have nothing to do with this thing. It just goes into the interweb and grabs
Right.
information probably from newspaper articles and collects
Yeah.
its own thing. The Falling Doves bring their stadium-ready rock and roll show to Pasadena with a tribute to the Beatles' early Hamburg set era. Yeah. Liverpool, England. The Falling Doves, a band from Liverpool, England, will be performing a tribute to the Beatles' early Hamburg set era. The band has performed and recorded with original founding member of the Beatles, Pete Best, and did a residency at the infamous Kaiser Keller in Hamburg. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, how does she know that? You know what I mean? Better than I did, and then just change the lyrics because this one it goes. The band's lead singer John Lennon says we are. I was like, okay, that's okay. I see where you're going with that.
Oh my god.
So it wrote the whole thing, and I just just tweak a few things here and there, and it's
That's kinda
phenomenal.
cool.
It gets the
Yeah,
gist.
it is because it's a lot of time, and
It
then
said
that,
some personal shit before.
Has it
though.
really?
Yeah, one of the ones that you showed me, like she was getting down and dirty.
Which
with,
one
like,
is this
all-
one? Chat GPT or something like
I
that?
don't know.
I gotta remember which one I used it for this website. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it.
You just read them to me after they're done. I don't
Yeah?
know. I'm scared of AIs.
And what did
They're
you
starting
ask
to give
it,
feelings.
Christopher?
This one was crazy. Here, let's see if this chick wants to talk.
She's like, I'm busy.
Hold on, hold on. She might.
That's the day. That's the day where
So
I
leave
wrote
'em on
my
red.
something. I don't really feel like writing you a press release
Right.
right now.
She's
It's
like,
coming. It's coming.
It's
I feel
me,
it.
not you.
Yeah. Let's see.
Falling Doves bridge the gap between British rock and Sunset Strip swagger. Falling Doves, the rock and roll band from Liverpool, have developed a reputation for putting on a stadium-ready show in any space since forming in 2013. With
got
their
that
unique
right.
blend of
Not a
British
lot of
rock
people
and
know that.
Sunset Strip swagger, they have been carrying on the high-energy spirit of rock and roll for a new era. The band is now returning to the Cavern Club in Liverpool to kick off their upcoming tour Technicolor Dreams, which will take them to Norway, the UK, Japan, and beyond. The tour, which is set to begin in July, will feature their latest single, as well as other fan favorites. Falling Doves have been praised for their ability to bring a stadium-worthy show to any venue, and their upcoming tour is sure to be no exception. With their unique blend of British rock and Sunset Strip swagger, they are sure to bring an unforgettable experience to their fans.
She's
The band is
addicted to that
excited
word.
to
Yeah,
be
she
returning
loves
to the
it.
Cavern
She
Club,
loves that
a
word.
venue that has been a part of their journey since the beginning.
How
They are
lovely is
looking
that?
forward to bringing their
And that stuff is all real. So that's what's lovely. It's like, I'm telling you, I've paid high, well-known publicists that write for really big bands. And I've never had that type of like satisfaction with something. It's like, you
The
care.
research.
You did your homework. You know, I didn't have to, because it's also hard as an artist, I think, to and that's what her and I were talking about that the other day, to like relinquish in the things that you've done, you know, because for me, I see that as egocentric to think too much of that. You know, I'm always like working on the next thing. Sometimes it's nice to stop and, wow, I've done all this stuff and I don't realize how important it is, right? But I feel like
How important it is, like as you're
As an
doing it,
artist,
or
as
to
an
document
artist.
it.
Well, as an artist, because there are milestones as an artist. You know,
Right.
not a lot of people can claim to fame a lot of the stuff that we've done, but you don't think about that. And like I did a list with her the other day about all the bands we played with. I was like, oh my God, we're like over 48, 49 well-known bands from all the eras we played with. You know, but I don't think about that. They're just people you're playing with. Oh, cool. Now that's it. Because I think the more, if you focus too much on that, then you just stay at home and get fat and forget about it, and you think you've done everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You met people like that. Oh, I've already done that. Oh, this is cool.
But also, if you don't, it's about balance. Because if you don't think back on it enough, then you just keep focusing forward, and you never acknowledge like, oh shit, like I've done really cool stuff. Like if you don't intentionally press the button of be present and realize where you are when you're on tour, because you're in such go mode, you don't even like recognize like, oh shit, I'm in Europe right now, and I'm like,
Yeah, and I do on the downtime. I
You
enjoy
gotta
that this
be
stuff.
grateful
We do
for what
make
you're
time
doing.
for some of that stuff, to absorb culture and quality of things whenever we're able to have time. The tour I did with Darnell was 30 days in a row. Can you believe that? 30
That is
days in a
crazy.
row with one day off. Again, at the beginning, the middle, and at the end.
Wow.
That was madness. That guy he can keep going. It's just a different planet.
He could do another 30 days.
He would have.
Yeah.
He would
like
have.
we've been on tour for like, I think upwards of 2 months straight, but we also took breaks during the 2 months. It's hard to just like keep going and going and going.
Because
Yeah.
at some point you start becoming like a performance monkey,
Yeah.
And Darnell has his, his pitches. He does the story, How many of you guys are feeling like this?
Like
And
he's got a routine.
who's
kind
got
of-
a boss that's terrible, So he's got his shtick, and that's cool. That's his act. I can't even play the same lead the same way twice. I can't. Because it's not authentic to me. And that's the thing with our band is you'll never get the same show twice. You really won't. As much as you want to, you will not.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't know what I'll do for a solo. I don't know if maybe we'll do something crazy. You don't think about it. Because I think the more you think about it, you freak yourself out. And now you're just overanalyzing.
Yeah, you
And
overthink
it's
it.
real because you just say like everything that you say when you're on stage is just coming straight from your brain.
And my heart.
Yeah. So
you
like
know? Try
it's
to
not
connect with
rehearsed.
people.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just raw.
But there has to be a little tiny bit of a theatrical here and there because it is.
Oh yeah.
We have our intro that we do. And
You
that
are
type of thing.
theatrical
And an exit.
by default.
Yeah. Try to do a good
Works.
intro and a good exit.
But I mean, alongside from the music, I think even just putting the show on, it's great. Like when we saw you, you were up on the both sides and you went up there with your guitar and then you came down and you came into the
Hopping on
crowd
cars
and,
stuff.
Yeah.
and like you give an entire production show. It's not just seeing the band play, which is great. We love seeing bands play, but you give that extra and it's like
And that's why I love touring with Darnell because you know what? Those shows when we go on these tours, they get competitive. We start going, trying to show off of each other. Oh, he did that? Okay, I'm going to get him with this. But that's how you grow into a good artist, And then we play together, which we didn't get to do that on this show because he was playing with other bands. And I think that that's the thing is that when it's somebody's event, you have to not dumb yourself down into what you do,
Mhm.
but you have to complement the evening to make sure, you know what I mean?
It's like when you're harmonizing with someone.
Yeah.
You can't go into like full like belting and doing crazy shit because you're trying to blend with them.
Right.
Yeah, so we wanted to give a good show, a good highlight, punch in the highlight without, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would have been too close to play right before him too because it would have been too much of the same energy.
When did you become to realize that as a band about
harmonizing and playing with people.
right?
When you're younger, you're competing against each other. As you get older, you realize that it's not a competition, but it's about the whole element of the evening
And working together.
and working together. You know what I mean? And I think in Germany we learned that. And I'm going to be honest with you because we played this club. And I remember we were playing with this band that we didn't get along with at all. At all. Just, I like them as people, but it just, band-wise, they turn into a different planet. Some people just, it's like the way they are, man. You get them on the road, you really see what a person's like. And we learned that we had to learn to play together and gig together because we were not going to make that tour successful if we kept fighting and stuff. So
Right.
we get to this gig and collectively working together to find solutions for stuff. And I remember this promoter goes, we did 3 hours, which is a lot. We finished at 2 a.m. and the promoter goes, the place is finally packed all the way. It's a line out the door. Can you guys keep going? I go, we can't keep playing the same stuff if these people are going to throw us out.
Yeah.
So between all the bands, we're like, okay, well, what do you know? What do you know? Well, I can drum on this thing. I'll play bass for this song. Okay, cool. We created another set list. So we all became one
Whoa.
big band.
Yeah.
And everybody was the singer at some point. Everybody was the drummer. Not everybody made it as the bass player. But we kept going, I even played piano. And we played till 4 a.m. And he wanted us to keep going. We're like, well, what are we going to do? you can have the whole bar. I go, you don't tell an English person that. No, I'm not kidding you. They drank every bottle that was on that thing. And we played till 7 a.m.
Wow.
The next day, we all looked like when Germany bombed the English. We were all laying down on the ground. We have pictures of all this stuff and sleeping in the bar and.
Oh my God.
Inside the bar?
Yeah, because everybody was passed out, and they were going to pick us up at 9 a.m. So there was no point in getting a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bar was there was no place. We were going to sleep on the floor, so we just wiped the bar and slept on the bar. Some of us on seats, and
That is wild,
so
man.
rough.
yeah.
That sounds like my high school experience.
This guy and this chick in the phone booth slept outside.
Oh my God.
Inside the phone
Because
booth?
they wouldn't make love in there.
Oh my
was no
gosh.
room.
In the phone booth?
Really?
Yeah, and even Greg stayed in this room with the guy
How
that
is
plays
this
guitar.
even allowed? Is there no limit for
There was
how
this
late you can
closet.
serve
Well,
alcohol?
see, so I knew some weird stuff was going to go down, so I found a closet. Like, it was big, but I didn't tell anybody about this closet space.
He was planning something.
Oh, I did.
He was like,
Throughout the
something's
night-
going to happen.
Throughout the night, I started taking cushions from the seats and stuffing them in
You
there.
started creating your little hobbit hole?
Yep. And then I,
I'm like
by
a true
night,
Mexican. We're
Yeah, yeah.
resourceful.
5 a.m, I knew I could go take a nap because they were going to keep going. And I already did what I could do, So I went in and set up my little bed in there, put a chair against the door so no one could come
Oh
in.
my God.
Had my water, passed out. Greg, on the other hand, was in another little room that they had a little cubby. And then while all the bands were hooking up with chicks, he just sat there left to right, watching ass cheeks getting slapped. And the whole He's seen things.
Oh my God.
He's seen it, smelled it.
Are you
and touched
talking
it.
about Greg?
Yeah. Ask
Seen
him.
it, smelled it, and touched it.
I remember one time we were all sharing this room, and all the bands hooking up with chicks, and the girl goes, "What about him?" I go, "He likes to watch."
Oh my God. Did that happen to Mike too? He was in there with someone, and all of a sudden he looks over, and Greg's just under his.
Go get him, Tiger.
Don't worry about me. I'll just be here under my cover.
I'm not here. You're imagining it.
You don't even know if I'm real.
So you and Greg have been playing with the band for the longest.
Well, no. So like I said at the beginning of the pitch, the Falling Doves hasn't always been a professional collection of touring and professional session musicians because it was the only way I could tour around the world without being stuck with somebody that can't go because of a job or this and that.
It's harder to travel with like 4 or
Also,
5 people.
the music changes, but all the members in the band still play with the band. So, like
Christopher, how long have you been playing for?
music,
Yeah.
like the people pay money to watch or just playing.
Both.
I started in 98 playing the singer-songwriter circuit acoustically. So since 98 all the way to now, to today, they didn't actually start getting paid to 2004.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
really?
Mhm.
They didn't pay you like you didn't like
From
go
98
play
to
and,
2004? No.
you didn't like go play in dive
Because I
bars
was
and
just
stuff?
playing coffee shops and little
They didn't
things
pay
like
you?
that. They didn't pay anything.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like open mics and stuff like
yeah,
that?
yeah, I started doing that.
Oh, okay.
Like solo by yourself?
Acoustic,
or
yeah,
acoustic?
acoustic.
Wow.
That's cool.
Well, that got boring
Yeah.
very quick.
It did?
Yeah, imagine playing every night, but that's how you perfected your craft, man.
Yeah. I think so, right?
Yeah, and you're sitting with other writers and you're listening to what they're writing about and you're listening to how you're doing your parts and, perfecting my craft live instead of in a little home
Yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different, like starting out, something like that. And then going out and doing it in front of people. It's,
Yeah.
wow, it's like a totally
But like I said,
different thing.
I was very blessed to find the best people that were doing it. And I stuck with people that were doing it. And I wanted to do that. So, and it paid off. I met a lot of phenomenal people that, that we all know in music. And they gave me the time of day to spend time with them and learn the craft and ride with them. And it always involved drinking. A lot
Absolutely.
of things.
It has to. And half of edibles, too.
There was none of that at that time. Legal that you could find.
So the Falling Doves have been like interchangeable, members.
Yeah. Because
There
when,
has
when I
been.
went to England, to make the first record, the guy at the label out there wanted me to do a collection of songs from my catalog because I had a lot of songs from my other band. I go, okay. there's these songs that I really love that I can't just let them die with this band. So let's re-record it. And he goes, well, we're not going to be able to sell you as a pop artist. Why don't we create another band? And I'd been already in a band, so I don't want to make another band, you know. Well, then you can play acoustic. I go, no, that's all good. Let's do the band thing. And I went in the studio with friends and session players to play on the whole album to get that feeling of a band. And we've been staying pretty loyal to the brand and the sound of the band. You know what I mean? But, I mean, there's still, you know, Mike that lives in L.A., he's toured around the planet with us. Our original bass player lives in Italy, who's now our mixing engineer on the records. You know, he'll come on tour once in a while and do stuff with us. Greg's been the live, like in our live albums, he plays on the drums and that. He's usually the guy you'll see on the road on drums. But even in England.
Which is crazy because he's like, what, 72 now?
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And he went on the Japan tour.
Yep.
Like
he made it through Hamburg.
Wow.
Trucking along.
We thought we were going to kill him in Hamburg. We're like, you realize you may not come back, right? What do you mean? Like, I'm just saying, I don't want to freak you out, but how do you want me to handle that if that happens?
The fucking guitars, dog.
You have to think of everything, dude.
I go,
Even
I
that.
have a backup plan if I croak out there. I already got numbers. But
Do you really?
Yeah. But I go, what about you? And I already know where I need to be buried. But with him, you know, I go, what do you want? Do you want us to ship
Check
you
him
home
with the guitars, dude.
or burn you and bring the ashes home? What do you want?
Put you in a
he
sleeping
just
bag.
He just says he wants to die on the drums. Just like
Yeah.
the final bang, you know?
Like
Yeah.
you
And
see
then
dust.
he's done. Dust?
He's just dust.
Here's the last thing.
It's like
Turns into
glitter.
dust, and that's it. You know, we did have this drummer we toured with in Australia, and at the last show, he just disappeared. I'm not kidding you.
What?
We didn't even see him. He didn't pick up his last check. We've never seen him since.
Who was this?
That
The
is
guy
weird.
that had the mental breakdown that I found out 3 years later.
Oh.
Were you concerned?
He woke up in
A mental
come on,
breakdown?
What do you think? You're like, where did he go? Some of the things get tense. People fight. So you're like, oh, maybe he got pissed. No.
Yeah.
Had a mental breakdown. It's not uncommon. Traveling like that really it
It's
takes a
broken
toll
a
on
lot
you.
of people. So for a lot of people, they've had to take breaks, and it's not for anybody.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's how that went. But, you know, Mike will still sit in with the band, play with us on different tours when he can. He still plays on most of the records. And then the drummer on most of the albums lives in Italy. And he's never toured with us, but he's the drummer of the band.
Wait, hold on. How does that happen? How does that work? How does that work out?
Magic. You know each other, and there's this chemistry when you're writing stuff. And he sends me the drums, and I send my guitar parts. Sometimes we play together live in the studio. Sometimes we don't.
Oh, okay.
But it allows me to be able to keep the machine going.
Is that how a lot of music is written? Like
Yeah,
nowadays with that
sending
technology?
files back and forth.
it?
And
Yeah.
adding their stuff and
We
then
still
it gets
do,
mixed.
you know, for every, I call those cosmetic albums that we put out. We also
Cosmetic
do a lot.
albums.
Yeah, because they're
Okay.
cosmetically set up in a certain area, so you can't really go outside of those ranges. But it also pushes you musically to what you can do. Because once something's already laid out in a certain way, you can only do so much with a foundation of a song.
Well, and that's how a lot of stuff adapted to be during COVID too, because
It became
people
pop music.
couldn't come together in studios.
Oh, that's right.
So they had to just like record their part at home in their little at-home studio and then send it back and
But
forth.
we were doing that for ages with this guy. We just love how he works and how fast he is, and he's as fast as me. So we're able to crank out record after record after record.
Whoa.
Yeah. Then we just put the other icing with, Mike, do you want to play on this record? Cool.
Yeah.
You don't? Cool. Get my buddy. It's in it, you know.
So what's in the future for what's the next goal right now for
I think
for you guys?
You know, the thing is now we're hitting another plateau
Yeah.
where, you know, we've done all this stuff and we need to get into the bigger halls and the bigger concerts and the bigger events and that's where it's at. So we're trying to just focus on bigger shows. Can you grab the little poster that's over here, Miss Dyer? If you can, around the side.
Oh, I think it's behind the curtain.
Yeah, bring it with you.
I'll get it.
Okay,
Okay.
that's part of the presentation here.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to focus on bigger venues to continue growing as an act, because we've outgrown the smaller club circuit in the aspect of production. We're very ambitious, so you know a lot of the lights we actually downscaled for that House of Blues show because we don't want to, you know what I mean, overproduced a show that's not our show. So this is a show we got coming up. Let's see, where's the camera? Right
That's
there.
like, right.
And that's a big show for us. We're playing with Billy Bob Thornton of the actor, from the Boxmasters.
Oh wow.
I guess you're welcome to come to that. So I brought you a poster. This is
thank you.
collectible poster. So if you buy a ticket from us directly, you get a poster. And they only gave me like 25
sweet.
tickets.
Ooh, I appreciate that.
So, and I only got 25 posters. So that's an artist in England, actually. They made the artwork for us. And
It looks cool. I really like the artwork.
I was so stoked. And I make my own posters and stuff just like Darnell.
Yeah.
But sometimes, certain special things, it's a little cooler to work with somebody else than do it yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. Like we were talking earlier about Jesse JFR and his 3 tits and that pin that you're wearing now. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
It's just a little bit cooler to celebrate with other people, than just your own thing. Because that's like throwing your own birthday party. It sucks after all your life.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more of a celebration. If you notice, we invited Darnell to be our guitarist for the night for this show.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, right there. Falling Doves with special guest guitarist Darnell. Cool.
So that's how we support each other, opportunities, big opportunities. And it's my goal to help him get on some big shows. And that's always been our journey. We help each other as we can. He's done merch for me. We've done merch for him. I've played drums for Darnell too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You did pretty well.
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
At some point. I go, just don't do your Darnell thing because I'm not going to follow you. Don't go full Darnell. Keep half Darnell.
Keep it simple.
And he did. But when he tried, I go, no. Ooh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You brought some other stuff, right? I saw you
Yeah.
take out some other
Yeah.
stuff.
So this is a single. So last year we were blessed to be able to put in like 7 pre-nominations for the Grammys, and we got selected for those. At the end of the day, we didn't make it to the full list, but at least it was such an honor to get all of our albums starting to get recognition, because
To get to the
you're doing
almost
something
list.
right. And I mean, our albums right there with some Taylor Swift stuff, Miley Cyrus stuff. We were in there with what's that band? Muse, and there's other really good band, the Black Keys. So to be in that category
nice.
with that,
Whoa.
that's awesome, man.
That is awesome.
So we recorded this song called Las Vegas Girls. It's got Katie on the cover there.
Oh, nice.
And it's a single with this composer or songwriter in Las Vegas, since, that's always been our backyard and kind of like a hometown too. We wrote the song about, Las Vegas girls and things. And it's a really cool collaboration because it's half in Spanish and half in English.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
That's
It's the
awesome.
first time anything like that's in the Falling Doves universe. This tour right now, we're finishing this year promoting this album called Technicolor Dreams, which is a little electro album I made. So it's an electronic record, poppy electronic. And I wanted to make this type of record. Just for me, I think as an artist, you have to also continue pushing your creative endeavors, and not get bored. So this is what we're touring behind right now.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And that record came out last year, but you know what it is we were finishing up after pandemic. We got the green light. We were finishing the promotion of this album. So this is what we were touring behind when we played last year, and then this one was put out by Jack White's label out there in Nashville, I think is where they're at. And this was done completely live in 24 hours with that Italian drummer I told you about.
Oh, wow.
And it also features our original bassist that co-founded the band with us. So it's special, And that's what it is. And it's nice because even though he's not touring with us, he still mixes on the records and does production or, so everybody once in the family, you're in there. Katie met our former girl bass player that lives in Oregon, just moved up there, and she got to meet her, and she's seen the relationship I have with all these musicians. It's very, very close. It's not.
It's a big worldwide family.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Is it-
meeting all these people for the
Yeah.
first time in the last 2 years, they're all so amazing. It's like visiting family. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That is, yeah, that's really cool.
And it's all the common goal for all of us to do stuff. So,
work together and just grow
Yeah.
as artists.
But for the future, there's this album I've been sitting on. Before any of this stuff came out, I worked on this album. I got 2 albums that are not out yet. One is one I did in Liverpool, and we went to Abbey Road to finish it. So it was my first big accomplishment to do that. And then this one called Rise of the Serpent, which is an album about Mexican politics and a lot of things that happen, that were unjust or unfair down there. And so I wanted to write a little bit about it, And this album's special because we mixed and recorded all over the world. I think I've lost 2 relationships to this album. And it's probably the craziest I've ever worked on an album because I'm not one of these people that does overdubs with the vocal or second tracking or overthinks anything. I just go in and lay down what it is, and that's it. You're not going to get any more out of me because I don't feel like it's genuine anymore because I feel like now I'm overthinking it, so you're not getting my first impression. But for this record, like I said, I was just never happy with it. And I just kept mixing it and re-recording stuff and re-recording versions of this and going back in and changing drummers for different songs until I got it where I needed it. And so there's musicians from all over the world in this album and that have played with my band and written with my band. So that's an honor to have all those guys on these albums. So it's the first album like that. And I wrote and recorded in Australia on that one, Mexico City, in Japan, in England, all over the place in Hollywood, a few studios in San Diego, and just finalized where I wanted it to be. And now I'm happy with it. But then you
all those places went into that one.
Yeah, and then I went through a few relationship breakups. So then that throws you in a buzz because then you resent your work because that's where your time and life went into it. Because you focused on it, and so then other things happened. So then the album just stayed behind, kind of hidden there, because there was too much pain, too much bloodshed for this album to be made, and so many changes. So I just had to. It was too heavy, so I had to just put it to the side. But I feel good now. I think this is the time for it to come out, and couldn't be a better time. To speak about some of these issues that are affecting us today and bring these themes out.
Oh, that's good.
But it's very heavy stuff. So,
wow.
I haven't done all the music videos, but I've already written them all. And they're pretty culturally charged, a lot of activism and
nice.
lyricism. So also because most of the stuff is about celebration and rock and roll, it's hard to so I had to find ways to hide the lyrics between words and messages. So I was able to bring the music to life. And there's a lot of beautiful love songs in it as well.
And what a good time for that to come out. Because the world is crazy right now.
Yeah.
We're releasing this as soon as we finish the promotional stuff for Technicolor Dreams.
So after Technicolor Dreams, that's when... What is this album
it's called? Rise of the Serpent.
Rise of the Serpent.
Even the artwork, man. I went through 8 different designers until I finally found them.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Because I wanted to cross-merge the meaning. In Mexico, we had this Montezuma and a bunch of other Aztec.
Quetzalcoatl too, right?
Yeah. And Quetzalcoatl, for example, left and promised to return.
Right.
So this album is supposed to be the return of Quetzalcoatl, right? But I also wanted to merge the influence that Japan had into the band. So I wanted a Japanese dragon becoming a Mexican feathered serpent.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
fucking badass.
That's what the artwork is.
No, you really got the artwork.
No,
like your story. It comes out from the artwork.
Yeah. So that's what it was. And this T-shirt, for example, was a promotional campaign for it because the album actually was being built into the T-shirt.
Whoa!
So you can tap your phone on it,
and it comes to life, and you can listen to them.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if these do.
That's.
But then, because I had to put the project on hold.
How the fuck how does that happen? I've never seen that before.
NFC technology. Now, this came out 4 years ago before what we're doing now. This guy already had it going. I don't think I've charged this.
Is your brain running, Gill? No?
The
Check that out. So let's see if it... I think this one is just one of the older ones, so it doesn't have the. But it's in there. And so if you scan it, it basically has the full album on it.
Hold on. You knew about this?
No, I didn't.
No? Oh, okay.
You're like, you've been holding out.
I'm going to jump over this TV right now.
This is not. Sometimes the case is too thick. Let me see.
I was gonna say that's crazy. I've never seen it not work.
Yeah, but the thing on the T-shirts, they're finicky because they had just started the technology.
Oh.
Before I leave, I'm gonna leave you guys a catalog so you guys can see how it works. On
Yeah.
Yeah, because he has these little stickers that he puts on the catalogs, and it's the same thing. You just tap your phone on the sticker, and it'll bring you so you can watch like the live concert.
Yeah. So basically, that was the
Whoa.
concept of it, and the concept changed a little bit, and I just sat down on it. But it should be coming out this year, so
That's awesome.
medium. It's the only size I have. So
Yeah, we'll be watching out for that.
That's awesome.
Christopher and Katie, thanks for coming out and doing the podcast.
Thank you. It was a lot
I
of
really
fun.
appreciate it. So go ahead and share with everybody where we can find you and what you got coming up.
We enjoyed interacting with you guys, so visit us on the Instagram. That's where you're going to get the most quick responses at Falling Doves Music, fallingdoves.com. You should be able to find a lot of the most upcoming shows. And Facebook at Falling Doves. Anything else?
No, I think you covered it all. Thanks for having us.
fallingdoves.bandcamp.com for the full catalog of the Falling Doves.
When do you guys go on tour?
July, probably we fly out on the 2nd. And we'll be in theory, we're still on tour. We're just playing different segments of the tour.
Got it.
Yeah, so.
Very cool.
See you guys around the planet. Australia, I think, in November. September, August is France.
France?
Back in Japan in the next March.
I'm excited for that one.
That is
Supposed to be
awesome.
going to Mexico City, so all our stuff's there. Look at the artwork down there.
That is cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I love it.
Scroll back down.
I like that one. The red one with the
So
flying.
the
Yeah,
artist
that
that
one's cool.
designed that, at the time I was going through a breakup, so he said, I'm going to draw your ex-girlfriend's family. They can't stop you, and they're all going to try to take you down, but you're not going to let, the rock and roll will save you. So that's how that artwork came
Yeah,
out.
you have to show me who's the artist for that one because that's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like it.
It's very expensive.
I
and
love
we
the
got in a
like
fight
gorillas.
last time.
We got in a fight.
Jacob's spill, because I'm not a perfectionist, but she knows that when it's something, it has to be a certain way, or I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So he got mad that I was messing with his stuff on Photoshop.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
just need it just a little bit to the left.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
And I kept getting tired of annoying him and getting him to just tweak it a little tiny bit.
The Mind Buzz.
Thanks, guys. For coming
Thank
out.
you.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
And here's the
Thank
digital.
you.